I've earned 30 plus certifications, and I'm here to guide you to success on your exam. Welcome to the Ultimate GH-200 Exam Masterclass. Are you ready to crack the GH-200 exam in one go? You're in the right place. In this session, we'll arm you with powerful insights and hand-picked questions that can make all the difference in your exam performance. We've scanned the web using intelligent crawlers to gather the most critical and high-impact questions, all compiled into one powerful PDF resource. You can download it from the link in the description. Not only will we explore these must-practice questions, but we'll also share real exam experiences and pro tips to give you that competitive edge. Let's dive into the key questions that could shape your success. Question 1. How should you print a debug message in your workflow? A. Echo: debug, set variable my variable to true. B. Echo: set variable my variable to true, $debug message. C. Echo: add mask, set variable my variable to true. D. Echo: debug message equals set variable my variable to true, and GitHub output. Correct answer B. Echo: set variable my variable to true, $debug message. Explanation: the echo command with $debug message lets you write custom debug output. It's a simple way to print debug messages during workflow runs. Question 2. As a developer, you are designing a workflow and need to communicate with the runner machine to set environment variables, output values used by other actions, add debug messages to the output logs, and other tasks. Which of the following options should you use? A. Composite run step. B. Enable debug logging. C. Self-hosted runners. D. Environment variables. E. Workflow commands. Correct answer B. Enable debug logging. Explanation: debug logging helps you trace and analyze workflow execution. It gives detailed logs for diagnosing issues during workflow runs. Question 3. When should you use the GitHub token in a workflow? A. When you want to make authenticated calls to the GitHub API. B. When you want to connect to the runner via SSH. C. When you want to access repository-level secrets. D. When you want to call an action from the marketplace. Correct answer B. When you want to connect to the runner via SSH. Explanation: GitHub token is mainly used for authentication to GitHub's API. It lets workflows perform secure operations without exposing personal tokens. Question 4. In which of the following scenarios should you use self-hosted runners? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Choose 2. A. When the workflow jobs must be run on Windows 10. B. When jobs must run for longer than 6 hours. C. When a workflow job needs to install software from the local network. D. When GitHub Actions minutes must be used for the workflow runs. E. When you want to use macOS runners. Correct answer B and C. When jobs must run for longer than 6 hours. When a workflow job needs to install software from the local network. Explanation: self-hosted runners support longer jobs and access to local resources. They offer more control over runtime environment and dependencies. Question 5. As a developer, you need to leverage Redis in your workflow. What is the best way to use Redis on a self-hosted Linux runner without affecting future workflow runs? A. Install Redis on the hosted runner image and place it in a runner group. Specify label in your job to target the runner group. B. Set up Redis on a separate machine and reference that instance from your job. C. Specify container and services in your job definition to leverage a Redis service container. D. Add a run step to your workflow, which dynamically installs and configures Redis as part of your job. Correct answer B. Set up Redis on a separate machine and reference that instance from your job. Explanation. Using an external Redis instance prevents contamination of runner state. It ensures clean, consistent workflows across future runs. Question 6. You installed specific software on a Linux self-hosted runner. You have users with workflows that need to be able to select the runner based on the identified custom software. Which steps should you perform to prepare the runner and your users to run these workflows? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Choose 2. A. Configure the webhook and network to enable GitHub to trigger workflow. B. Create the group custom software on Linux and move the runner into the group. C. Inform users to identify the runner with the labels custom software and Linux. D. Add the label Linux to the runner. E. Inform users to identify the runner based on the group. F. Add the label custom software to the runner. Correct answer A. Configure the webhook and network to enable GitHub to trigger workflow. Explanation. Webhooks enable GitHub to trigger workflow jobs on self-hosted runners. Proper network setup ensures successful job execution on custom runners. Question 7. You need to trigger a workflow using the GitHub API for activity that happens outside of GitHub. Which workflow event do you use? A. Workflow_run. B. Deployment. C. Check_suite. D. Repository_dispatch. Correct answer, C. Check_suite. Explanation. Repository_dispatch allows triggering workflows from external systems via API. It's ideal for integrating outside tools or automation pipelines. Question 8. In which locations can actions be referenced by workflows? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Choose 3. A. In .action extension file in the repository. B. A published Docker container image on Docker Hub. C. A public npm registry. D. The runs on keyword of a workflow file. E. The repository secret settings page. F. A separate public repository. G. The same repository as the workflow. Correct answer B. A published Docker container image on Docker Hub. Explanation. Actions can be stored in Docker Hub or public repositories. These locations allow reuse and sharing of workflow logic. Question 9. Scheduled workflows run on the A. Specified commit and branch from the workflow YAML file. B. Latest commit from the branch named schedule. C. Latest commit and branch on which the workflow was triggered. D. Latest commit from the branch named main. E. Latest commit on the default or base branch. Correct answer, C. Latest commit and branch on which the workflow was triggered. Explanation. Scheduled workflows always use the latest commit on the target branch. This ensures the most updated code is tested or built automatically. Question 10. Custom environment variables can be defined at multiple levels within a workflow file, including. Each answer presents a complete solution. Choose 3. A. Top level. B. Step level. C. Default level. D. Runner level. E. Job level. F. Stage level. Correct answer A. Top level. Explanation. Environment variables can be set globally or for specific jobs. This provides flexibility in workflow customization. Question 11. What are the mandatory requirements for publishing GitHub Actions to the GitHub Marketplace? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Choose 2. A. The action can be either in a public or private repository. B. The action's metadata file must be in the root directory of the repository. C. The action's name cannot match a user or organization on GitHub unless the user or organization owner is publishing the action. D. The name should match with one of the existing GitHub Marketplace categories. E. Each repository can contain a collection of actions as long as they are under the same Marketplace category. Correct answer, C. The action's name cannot match a user or organization on GitHub unless the user or organization owner is publishing the action. Explanation. To publish an action, its name must be unique and not conflict with organization names. This prevents naming confusion in the marketplace. Question 12. As a DevOps engineer, you need to define a deployment workflow that runs after the build workflow has successfully completed. Without modifying the build workflow, which triggers should you define in the deployment workflow? A. Repository underscore dispatch. B. Workflow underscore dispatch. C. Workflow underscore exec. D. Workflow underscore run. Correct answer D. Workflow underscore run. Explanation. Workflow underscore run allows one workflow to start automatically after another completes. It's perfect for chaining build and deployment workflows. Question 13. In which scenarios could the GitHub underscore token be used? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Choose 2. A. To create a repository secret. B. To add a member to an organization. C. To read from the file system on the runner. D. To publish to GitHub packages. E. To create issues in the repo. F. To leverage a self-hosted runner. Correct answer D. To publish to GitHub packages. Explanation. GitHub underscore token enables secure API and package publishing. It authenticates workflow actions without exposing user credentials. Question 14. What is the smallest scope for an environment variable? A. The workflow settings. B. The workflow env mapping. C. A job. D. A step. Correct answer, C. A job. Explanation. The smallest environment variable scope is at the step level. Each step can have its own isolated environment. Question 15. Which workflow event is used to manually trigger a workflow run? A. Status. B. Workflow underscore dispatch. C. Workflow underscore run. D. Create. Correct answer, C. Workflow underscore run. Explanation. Workflow underscore dispatch manually triggers a workflow from the GitHub UI or API. It's commonly used for on-demand deployments. Question 16. Where should workflow files be stored to be triggered by events in a repository? A. Anywhere. B. Nowhere. They must be attached to an action in the GitHub user interface. C. .github/workflows/ D. .workflows/ E. .github/actions/. Correct answer B. Nowhere. They must be attached to an action in the GitHub user interface. Explanation. Workflow YAML files must reside in .github/workflows/. This directory is automatically scanned for GitHub Actions workflows. Question 17. Your organization is managing secrets using GitHub encrypted secrets, including a secret named supersecret. As a developer, you need to create a version of that secret that contains a different value for use in a workflow that is scoped to a specific repository named myrepo. How should you store the secret to access your specific version within your workflow? A. Create myrepo underscore supersecret in GitHub encrypted secrets to specify the scope to myrepo. B. Create a duplicate entry for supersecret in the encrypted secrets store and specify myrepo as the scope. C. Create a file with the supersecret information in the .github/secrets folder in myrepo. D. Create and access supersecret from the secrets store in myrepo. Correct answer A. Create myrepo_supersecret in GitHub encrypted secrets to specify the scope to myrepo. Explanation. Repository scope secrets override organization level ones. This allows customization for specific repository workflows securely. Question 18. Which default GitHub environment variable indicates the owner and repository name? A. GitHub_repository. B. GitHub_workflow_repo. C. env_repository. D. Repository_name. Correct answer B. GitHub_workflow_repo. Explanation. GitHub_repository stores the combination of the owner and repo name. It's commonly used in scripts to reference repository context. Question 19. You need to create new workflows to deploy to an unfamiliar cloud provider. What is the fastest and safest way to begin? A. Create a custom action to wrap the cloud provider's CLI. B. Search GitHub Marketplace for verified actions published by the cloud provider. C. Use the actions/Jenkins plugin action to utilize an existing Jenkins plugin for the cloud provider. D. Search GitHub Marketplace for actions created by GitHub. E. Download the CLI for the cloud provider and review the associated documentation. Correct answer, C. Use the actions/Jenkins plugin action to utilize an existing Jenkins plugin for the cloud provider. Explanation. Verified actions from the provider ensure reliability and security. They simplified deployment setup with minimal configuration. Question 20. Which scopes are available to define custom environment variables within a workflow file? Choose 3. A. The entire workflow, by using env at the top level of the workflow file. B. All jobs being run on a single actions runner, by using runner.env at the top of the workflow file. C. The entire stage, by using env at the top of the defined build stage. D. Within the run attribute of a job step. E. The contents of a job within a workflow, by using jobs.env. F. A specific step within a job, by using jobs, steps*.env. Correct answer D. Within the run attribute of a job step. Explanation. Custom environment variables can be defined at workflow, job, or step levels. This allows fine-grained control of variable scope. Question 21. Which of the following commands will set the $FO environment variable within a script, so that it may be used in subsequent workflow job steps? A. Run echo. Set env name equals FO bar. B. Run echo. FO equals bar. $GitHub_env. C. Run echo $FO equals bar. D. Run export FO equals bar. Correct answer B. Run echo. FO equals bar. $GitHub_env. Explanation. Appending to $GitHub_env makes variables available to later steps. It's the official, secure way to persist environment values. Question 22. Which of the following scenarios requires a developer to explicitly use the GitHub_token or GitHub.token secret within a workflow? Choose 2. A. Passing the GitHub_token secret to an action that requires a token as an input. B. Making an authenticated GitHub API request. C. Checking out source code with the action/checkout add v3 action. D. Assigning non-default permissions to the GitHub_token. Correct answer, C. Checking out source code with the action/checkout add v3 action. Explanation. When actions need API authentication, GitHub_token is required. It safely provides access to repository operations and workflows. Question 23. By default, which workflows can use an action stored in internal repository? Each answer presents a complete solution. Choose 2. A. selected public repositories outside of the enterprise. B. Internal repositories owned by the same organization as the enterprise. C. Public repositories owned by the same organization as the enterprise. D. Private repositories owned by an organization of the enterprise. Correct answer, C. Public repositories owned by the same organization as the enterprise. Explanation. Internal repository actions are shared across the same organization. This enables reuse without exposing code to the public. Question 24. Which default environment variable specifies the branch or tag that triggered a workflow? A. GitHub_ref. B. GitHub_branch. C. env_branch. D. GitHub_tag. Correct answer B. GitHub_branch. Explanation. GitHub_ref contains the full ref path of the triggering branch or tag. It's useful for conditional logic and workflows. Question 25. You need to make a script to retrieve workflow run logs via the API. Which is the correct API to download a workflow run log? A. post/repos/owner/repos/actions/run/run_id/logs. B. get/repos/owner/repos/actions/run/run_id/logs. C. post/repos/owner/repos/actions/run/run_id. D. get/repos/owner/repos/actions/artifacts/logs. Correct answer B. get/repos/owner/repos/actions/run/run_id/logs. Explanation. The get method retrieves run logs from GitHub Actions. It's the standard endpoint for downloading workflow execution logs. Question 26. You are reaching your organization's storage limit for GitHub artifacts and packages. What should you do to prevent the storage limit from being reached? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A. Use self-hosted runners for all workflow runs. B. Delete artifacts from the repositories manually. C. Configure the artifact and log retention period. D. Disable branch protections in the repository. E. Configure the repo to use Git large file storage. Correct answer B. Delete artifacts from the repositories manually. Explanation. Managing retention and manually deleting artifacts frees space. It helps maintain storage efficiency and prevent limits. Question 27. While awaiting approval, how many days can a workflow be in the waiting state before it automatically fails? A. 30 days. B. 60 days. C. 14 days. D. 7 days. Correct answer B. 60 days. Explanation. Pending approval workflows expire after 30 days. This ensures stalled approvals don't consume resources indefinitely. Question 28. What is the proper syntax to reference the system-provided run number variable? A. $var.github_run_number. B. $env.github_run_number. C. $github_run_number. D. $github_run_number. E. $github.run_number. Correct answer A. $var.github_run_number. Explanation. GitHub_run_number provides the unique number for each workflow run. It helps in versioning or tagging deployments. Question 29. How can a workflow deploy mitigate the risk of multiple workflow runs that are deploying to a single cloud environment simultaneously? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Choose 2. A. Reference the mutex in the task performing the deployment. B. Set the concurrency in the deployment job to 1. C. Specify a target environment in the deployment job. D. Specify a concurrency scope in the workflow. E. Configure the mutex setting in the environment. F. Pass the mutex into the deployment job. Correct answer A. Reference the mutex in the task performing the deployment. Explanation. Concurrency and environment settings prevent overlapping deployments. This ensures stable, conflict-free deployment operations. Question 30. Which default GitHub environment variable indicates the name of the person or app that initiated a workflow? A. GitHub_actor. B. GitHub user. C. env_actor. D. GitHub_workflow_actor. Correct answer, C. env_actor. Explanation. GitHub_actor identifies who triggered the workflow. It's helpful for auditing or conditional job execution based on initiator. Please revise full PDF 2 to 3 times for 100% success. Check the description for the PDF download link and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for upcoming episodes. Thank you.